how's it going, everybody? I am the Diginerdster, and today we'll be continuing, after like 2 weekends of missing it, A Hand in the Darkness. Yeah. Let's see. But the next morning, of course, the break was over, and I had to hear Monty's and Rick's weird theories during breakfast and between lessons. At least ask Reggie, who was the servant who asked him to tell you to go down to the hall in search of the non-existent parcel. Reggie was the classmate who spoke to me that evening in the dining hall. But after Damien bullied him in the corridors, he avoided the four of us, and I couldn't blame him. In the end, I approached him at the end of the lessons just to make my two friends shut up about it. The poor guy opened his eyes wide as saucers when he saw me coming closer. He inspected our surroundings and seemed clearly relieved when he checked that Damien was nowhere to be seen. Can I talk with you for a moment? Your friend talked to me already, remember? I don't know anything, so leave me alone! I raised my hands in a surrender gesture. I know. I apologize for Damien's... He's overprotective of his mates, we could say. An asshole, that's what he is, and a mad one for that matter. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I just went to ask you who was the one who told you to give me that message. The boy deflated all of a sudden. It's true that you were attacked, but I'm sure there was a mistake here. That's what I think too, but just to be on the safe side, I would like to ask him if there was any hidden reason behind it all. Of course, I get it. I don't know his name. It was one of the boys who attends to the tables in the dining room sometimes. I met him in the corridor, seemingly coming from the kitchen, and he stopped me and told me what to say to you, what I said to you. Can you point him out to me this evening during dinner? He nodded. I think so. I thanked him and came back with my friends. I told them what Reggie had explained to me, and they seemed more relaxed. Well, a bit. That evening, I waited until everyone was finished their meal, and then I walked to Reggie's table to ask him about what we agreed on. I'm sorry, but he's not here today. He isn't? No, he attended the tables the first days of school, but I haven't seen him in the dining hall today or during the weekend. Frowning, I come back to our table and told the others. We updated Damien on the events since he wasn't with us that morning when I talked to Reggie. Some lad who was working in the dining hall last week, but who is not here now, eh? I think I know who he is. Really? You do? Yeah, he's a new employee. A guy around our age. Don't you remember him? Dark blonde hair, big nose, pock-marked. I realized servants were somewhat invisible to me. They cleaned our bedrooms, served our food, provided towels and bedcloths, but I barely remembered their faces. Welcome to the life of the rich. You'll get used to it. And according to the expression on Rick and Monty, their reactions were similar to mine. So none of the three had noticed that boy or the change in the dining hall waiters. Damien shook his head in disbelief. You guys wouldn't see water if you were in front of a sea. Of the sea. Meh. Okay, so he's not here this week. He must be ill, or perhaps he's doing kitchen duties. Or perhaps he's hiding to avoid meeting you, Alex. Oh, come on. Again with the conspiracy theories. It's me, alright. Why would someone want to hurt me? I don't know, 'cause you're young, soft, supple. We need to ask the waiter. We can always enter the kitchens and talk to him. Damien frowned and shook his head again. It's not allowed for students. The kitchens and all servants' areas are out of bounds. That's rubbish! I have seen you coming out of the servants' areas more than once. Damien grinned knowingly and leaned back in his chair. Well, I'm not a regular student, am I? I have my own devices anyway. Rules are for sissies. Could you help us enter the servants' areas to interrogate that guy? Damien raised an eyebrow and scoffed. As if passing 3 guys in is not what I would call discreet. Well then, help just Alex to go inside. You can do that, can't you? Our roommate looked away and then glanced at me through squinted eyes. I don't know. What do I get from this? I don't have much money left, but I can pay you. He tissed at my offer. I already have money. I don't need your coppers. But I have thought of something. Follow me to our bedroom. What? What? Monty and Rick stood up, but Damien smirked at them. What? I didn't like that grin at all. Even I, who didn't know Damien very well, could smell trouble in that smirk. Well, we did see him with a girl, so he might be a bit pissed. You two, go for a walk. Leave the little bird alone for a while. You don't need to be glued to him the whole time. Perhaps we will even get to teach him to fly. Definitely I didn't like it, but since I couldn't see any alternative, I followed him back to our bedroom. As soon as I entered the room, Damien closed the door at my heel and pushed me against it. His eyes had that dangerous glint I saw in them. That time he cornered our classmates in the corridors, and I couldn't help but gulp. Was I going to get beaten? Well, maybe not in the way you're thinking. Then he offered me a crooked grin again, and I was slightly relieved. You know, the only thing that makes this school bearable is the fact that I get to have some fun. So, as a little reward for helping you, I have something in mind that could be fun. I was getting scared, more scared. I mean, because my pulse started beating fast and loud the moment I left the dining hall with Damien. His grin grew wider and more mischievous if possible. It's something small. No need to be frightened. You have never kissed anyone, am I right? What? That's what I want. Your first... Okay! Your first kiss. He came closer until our chests almost touched. I could hear and feel his breath, so close we were. Whoa! Stop it! I haven't said yes! Yamate! True, say it already so I can kiss you. I was so nervous I couldn't decide what to say or what to do. Was that alright? It's 18 something, isn't it? It's the 19th century. I don't think this is okay. Not at this time, sadly. If anyone finds out, it's shame on all your families. Of all the things that I thought he could ask me to do, that was indeed the lesser one. Because yes, some scenarios involving myself doing illegal or forbidden things had crossed my mind. This is kind of forbidden at this time. But okay, we'll ignore that. We'll ignore it for the yaoi purposes. A kiss was, well, he was a guy, right? So it was technically still illegal in these times, but just a kiss? Wait. Did he just break the time barrier? What? Nothing too wrong with that. Although, the same moment I found myself nodding, and Damien still closer, a new thought flashed through my mind. Did I really want my first kiss to be with a boy? Too late. His lips found mine, and I closed my eyes. I felt his hands on my nape, preventing my escape, and another one at my jaw. The first two parts of that sentence right. English. At first, apart from his hands, I only noticed his breath, regular, warm against my lips. But after a moment, when I thought that was all, we had finished, he turned his face slightly and his lips opened a bit. We don't get a CG scene? Come on. I need something for the thumbnail, I can't just use the same dining hall scene. I gasped when the tip of his tongue gave a little lick at my lower lip. And then his tongue okay, we're going into some detail. And then his tongue slipped inside my mouth and I felt my brain melt. That would be painful if your brain actually melted. For some moments, I stopped being aware of what exactly was happening, or what Damien was doing. I mean, couldn't you, say, oh, I don't know, I melted against the embrace instead of my brain melted. It's pouring out of my ears. Because his whole mouth seemed to be inside. Okay, and that's. No offense, but that kind of gives the mental image of Vor. It's out of mine right then, as if his lips, tongue, teeth, and saliva had invaded me. For some minutes, I let myself go with the flow of the moment, while our surroundings, the bedroom, the school, seemed to vanish. Then my knees buckled, and I found myself grasping at Damien's shoulders for support. Why are we such a Yuki? He laughed, breathing against my mouth, and I felt really stupid. I was sure I was red as a ladybug right then. He watched me with intensity, with his hand still around my face. You sure felt it. It was still more fun than I imagined. He leaned forwards again and gave me a short peck on the lips. Was it that good for you, His left hand left my jaw and slithered down my back to rest on my waist. Who even moaned? I'm curious about what delicious sounds you'd make if we kept going. What? What do you mean? He's talking about sodomy. Butt stuff. Except it's actually a round hole instead of a... Whatever. I didn't feel very coherent right then. Damien dragged his lips down my jaw and approached my neck, eliciting a strong shudder that ran through my whole body. I mean, that we could do a bit more. We have a bedroom to ourselves for a little while, after all. His lips found my neck and I started to tremble violently. So, vibrations? Alright, that was... My brain refused to cooperate, but that was starting to be more than a simple kiss. Well, we've been ruined because he took our first kiss, so it would be natural to just keep going. But at the same time, I prefer the redhead. Yeah, choices. I don't know. I mean... It would break the other boy's heart. Besides, I think the natural response would be to push him away. Yeah, just because of the time period and all that. But he might cause trouble for us if we don't accept it, and he finds out that we're with the other boy. I can't believe I said that out loud. Okay, this is a tough choice. Yamate Damien Senpai. Despite my clogged mind, I gathered all my strength and will, and pushed Damien softly away. He chuckled and let me go, stepping backwards to give me some space. His cheeks were red as apples, and I guessed I looked very similar, if not worse. I tried to smooth my disheveled hair, self-conscious. Damien didn't say anything else, but he kept watching at me, with a half-smile dancing on his lips. I'll go to the toilet to refresh a bit. Or, touch ourselves, but whatever. And I left as fast as I could. The usual queue for the bathroom was starting to form, and I was glad I had woke up early that morning to have a quick shower and avoid the evening queues. I ran downstairs to the ground floor toilet, and one next to the hall, and I found it empty as I knew it would be. When I opened the tap, I noticed my hands were trembling out of control. I breathed deeply once, twice, and splashed some cold water on my face. Much better. Despite feeling thoroughly confused, I decided I was able to avoid thinking about what just happened and focus on what came next. I avoided looking at my face on the mirror, though. I rushed upstairs again and lingered in the corridor outside my door until I finally saw Monty and Rick coming my way. Alex, are you okay? I nodded. I didn't want to be asked about what Damien had done or said, so I started talking instead. I'm going to go to the servants' area now. Really? Right now? I want to go with you. But Damien said he couldn't pass us together. I'll be back soon. I'll tell you everything I find out, alright? He sighed. It's not all right. I don't trust Damien that much. What if he leaves you there? You don't know how to come back to the dorms. Have some faith, would you? Damien appeared at the threshold, glaring at Monty with annoyance. I think they're competing for me. Let's go already. Then, before we grow old and die of boredom in this damned school. He grabbed my forearm, not very careful, and started walking with long strides, pulling me with him. Hey, Damien, we want Alex back in one piece, you hear me? Why did I say piece? Damien waved goodbye without stopping or turning, and I did my best to not trip over my injured ankle to keep his pace. I retrieved my arm from his grip. I felt uneasy in Damien's company and couldn't look him in the face. After turning the corridor twice, the string of students started to be more scarce until we found ourselves in a completely empty and silent corridor. If we were still in the same wing, as I thought, we had left the bedrooms behind us. Looking around to check if there was someone in sight, Damien opened the plain door that led to the narrow staircase, and we trotted downstairs in semi-darkness. Oh goody. The stairs died in a small hall with 3 simple-looking doors. Damien pushed the front one without any hesitation, and I followed at his heels. We found ourselves inside the kitchen of the school. It was huge, split in different small rooms with a huge fireplace in the central one, and a long table in front of it, where some servants were sitting, doing sewing tasks or just chatting in front of a cup of tea. Hey you, what are you doing here? I jumped at hearing the balding man addressing us in a clear, bad mood. There's no card game this evening, is there? Nobody has told me so. If there's one, I want in. I need one to recover what I lost yesterday. Relax, Max. I'm only showing around my friend here. The man barely glanced at me and instead showed a threatening fist in front of Damien's face. Are we the fucking London Bridge to be showed around? If the head teacher finds out you enter here whenever you watch, he will yell at us, you know. As in a magic trick, there was suddenly a £1 note in Damien's fingers, and he pushed it inside of the man's apron pocket before anyone else saw. He placed his index on his lips, as if asking silence, and winked to Max. Then he turned to the other people in the kitchen, grabbing my elbow. Max, leave the kid alone. Come here, Damien, and introduce your new friend to us. Damien smiled politely, very different from his usual mischievous smirk. Miss Hutchinson, this is Alex. He started this term in St. Michael's. The woman, obviously the main cook, nodded fondly at Damien, offering me just a short look over. She was a plump woman in her 50s, and her brown eyes shone warmly. Good to meet you, young man. I hope you are enjoying your meals here. Are you a senior student as well? I hesitated. I didn't feel a senior at all, but I was in my last year before university, so I nodded with a shy smile. She ignored me and smiled to watch Damien closer. You had a huge growth spurt this summer, Damien. You look like a proper young gentleman already. No wonder that good-for-nothing Lisa fell for you. The corner of my lips twitched at those words, and I glanced at Damien with a corner of my eye. He just shrugged and kept smiling at the cook with a warm smile. You boys grow fast. Where is that cute skinny brat who used to slip into my kitchen to steal my cherry pies? And it seems my mother's prayer group got here. I'll just keep going and hopefully nothing lewd happens. Damien chuckled at that and opened his arms. He's right here. Do you have any? The woman giggled and turned to look for something in the shelf hidden by the curtain. You know I always save one cherry pie for you. Here you are, but share it with your friend, okay? Is she like his mother? Or grandmother? What's going on? My roommate took the delicious-looking pie with evident glee. Miss Hutchinson, you are the best. Please marry me. We could run away together and get married by that old vicar in town before dawn. It would be so romantic, don't you think? That made the woman lean over with laughter. She ended up hitting Damien on his arm with a dishcloth before my roommate could dodge her. The whole scene made me want to ask a bunch of personal questions to my roommate. This wasn't the guy I knew at all. Stop teasing her, Damien. The one who had spoken was one. Oh, okay. Connie. No, for some reason I thought it was The one who had spoken was one of the girls sitting at the table in front of the warmth of the hearth. She was perhaps 25 and smiled at Damien with that I recognized from my own experience as an elderly sister look. Hi, Connie. Can I ask you something? He sat on the stool in front of the girl and lowered his voice. We were looking for one of the new employees, a guy our age, pockmarked, sandy hair. Ah, that's Mark. I have barely talked with him, to be honest, but it seems he has been sick lately. Ask that girl over there, Sarah. She arrived to the school with him, and I think they talk to each other more often. She gestured to the sour-faced girl at the other end of the long table, and we thanked her and approached Sarah. I was surprised to notice her brown hair was short, cut just below her ears, and her maid cap couldn't hide it completely. It was strange. Why would a young woman cut her hair so short as a boy's? Maybe to disguise themselves as a boy? I looked around and all the other girls in the kitchen wore their hair braid or a bun under their white caps. The girl's bitter expression didn't vanish when she noticed our presence in front of her, rather the opposite. Damien offered her a charming smile and a nod. Sarah, right? I don't think we have met before. The girl remained silent. You know, I am slightly worried about a guy who attended the tables the first week. I talked with him just a bit, and I wanted to invite him to one of our poker matches. But he suddenly stopped appearing at the dining hall, and now I hear he's been sick. That is an excellent excuse. I thought I would have never come up with something like that. The girl stared at Damien with her stern face and didn't say a word. Could you tell us about his condition? Is he going to be okay? Oh. They are very masculine looking, kinda. Are they actually a boy? What? I don't... Yeah, I think so. I haven't gone to see him, though, so what do I know anyway? And she spat to the fire. I jumped back surprised. Ah, alright. I hope he gets well very soon. He grabbed my arm and made me turn and head towards the door we had entered through. He waved goodbye in general and offered me a piece of cherry pie while we climbed up the service stairs. Ah, thank you, it's delicious. I spied his face in the gloom and saw he was frowning. All polite smiles vanished. I'm sorry this has been useless. I will talk to the guy when he gets well and comes back to work. It hasn't been useless. What do you mean? That girl, Sarah, she was lying to us. What? Oh, oi, Damien, you can't know that. Look, little bird, I have been playing poker for some years now, and I can tell when someone has something to hide, and that Sarah is hiding a lot, I can swear, and also I spat all over my keyboard. Confused, I finished my piece of pie and decided that I had already had enough for the day. Well, I would continue, but, yeah, like I said, well, there's prayer groups up there, and I don't think I want to get into any more lewdly detailed scenes like that first kiss, so I'm gonna leave this here. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!